Beautiful people, welcome back to another episode of Who Can Relate. And if you're new here, welcome. The beautiful community that I've created. So grateful and so thankful for each and every one of you, especially to the ones who leave a review on Apple Podcast, who have liked, subscribed, and shared any video. And for the ones
on YouTube,
the ones who engage.
Yes.
I see you, I appreciate you, and I say thank you, thank you, thank you. Today's episode is the first of its kind. I have your podcast guest, favorite podcast guest, the Portuguese lover, real estate Shay, the one that saved me from the streets, the greatest bonus mom / stepmom in the history of bonus and stepmoms.
Aww.
You like that? It doesn't have to be Mother's Day to show my appreciation for you, honey. And my wife.
That I am.
Might I add, honey, let me allow everyone into our lives recently. I don't know what's going on, what you're doing, but you've been extremely attractive lately. So,
Really?
whatever you're doing,
What am I doing?
keep it up.
And what wasn't I doing when I wasn't attractive?
I don't know, but maybe I'm fertile. Okay, so today, again, first of its kind, we are going to play a little game called the Skin Deep edition of Couples Edition Long Term. Here is the game. If anyone's familiar with it, there's different versions of this, but we chose this one. By the way, not a sponsor. Bought this with our own money. Just thought it'd be cool. The slogan of the game is Rethink How You Connect. And the little brief is, it is a human connection component in the digital age where it offers experiences that deepen your relationships, spark meaningful conversation, and explore humanity against the ever-changing backdrop of our world as we work to create the first ever database of human emotion. Honey.
That is right up your alley.
For sure. Who can relate to that? Honey, if you want to read the rules, the game.
Okay. Get ready to enter a unique space from which to explore your relationships. As far as the experience goes, the rules are simple. Number 1, sit facing one another, comfortable distance between you.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, choose an equal number of random cards from the deck.
Mm-hmm.
Step 3, or rule 3, take 30 seconds to relax and look at one another. And 4, alternate asking and answering all the questions. Every question must be asked, but you do not have to answer the question. To earn the right to remain silent, you must look at the person in the eyes for 10 seconds before saying pass. That's basically it.
Well, we've chosen, I don't know, what is this, like 15, 18 cards, something like that. And let's get into it. Again, the Skin Deep Couples Edition Long Term. Everyone's about to find out, well, including us, what's going on, what's been going on.
I'm nervous that these are super skin deep. Like I could, and having the cameras on, like
let's roll.
You are really testing me outside my comfort zone.
That's right. Question number 1.
Right.
Drum roll, please.
Mr. Justin Davis.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to start our relationship over again, what would you do differently? I think I do have an answer for this, actually.
Okay. I am just trying to figure out, like, at what point in the early stages.
Any.
Okay.
Like,
if I could go back and do anything.
Yeah, from the moment, like, you slid into my DM, ask me how my day was.
No. You slid into my DM. You better own that. Own it, honey. You can start a whole movement. Not that it's not already started, but you could be the face to that movement.
Oh my
Classy
gosh.
face, though. You know what I mean? Okay. If I had to start a relationship over, what would I do differently? It's tough. The thing that came to my mind was I would have slowed down, but then I contradict that with I'm kind of glad we had the pace that we had because it both got us uncomfortable in a good way. It made me get it together.
Yeah.
It made you really step out of your comfort zone and kind of start taking more risks. So that's tough.
I feel like my answer basically would have been the same. Like, it's a really tough question because I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. And I think that we were put in the positions that we were put in for the results that we ended up getting. And I think any change in any of the course of our relationship or how it happened, how fast it happened who's to say it would change the rest of the story, you know? And I wouldn't want to risk changing the rest of the story. And I'm very grateful for how it happened and where we are today and all of the things, good and bad, that we went through to get to where we are today. So I would not change anything.
I will say, and even hearing you say all that actually kind of validates this, I would change not putting you through some of the hell that I put you through.
Yeah.
Not that you deserved it at any point in time. You didn't deserve that at all. But there were things that now that I'm aware of and have accepted and have changed that had I been this version of myself then, you wouldn't have had to go through that.
Do you think if you wouldn't have put me through, you wouldn't have realized the expense that was on the table that you could have lost to where it led you to really like get your shit together?
Yeah, because I never looked at I never wanted to look at you as like a perceived threat if I didn't get it together. Because I was going to get this together regardless.
Yeah.
The timing worked out. You brought out different sides of me that I had never seen before. You brought out different goals and motivations I had never felt before. But I know I know the pain it caused, and I just wish I could have avoided that.
But do you also think that in those moments you were, there was one thing that you always say, you're like, you know, I realized that Shay was like somebody that like she's not going to put up with like my old ways and stuff or whatever, like you were used to like getting away with other girls. Do you think that you needed that form of realization?
But that's what I'm saying. I wish I would have already healed the feeling I can get away with things before I even put you through it to try it out.
I mean, I'm all for it. If like you wouldn't have like
help you out.
Put me through some of those things, I'm totally for it. Like that would have been amazing.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Okay. Next card. Oh,
spicy. I'm nervous.
Hold on. Let me get the right one.
Nope. No.
What can we do to improve our physical intimacy? Shannon.
I would say off the top, definitely prioritizing our alone time, date nights. I think we both are so guilty of getting so caught up in like our work mode and like the goals that we're, you know, having with like trying to buy a house and all of that stuff that we get lost in that and we miss each other sometimes. And there's some days where we're just like two ships passing in the day. So I think just making it more of a priority and having more moments where we can ravish each other.
Hey, you know, the way the superior man. That's right.
But yeah.
Okay.
Weekly too. Not just like once a month.
Right.
Not that we're once a month at all.
Like, what kind of schedule? What the hell?
I'm saying date nights though. I'm like, I'm thinking of like, I'm not really thinking sexual. I'm just thinking like where we're connecting.
Overall.
Yeah. Overall, like not just once a month date night. I think it needs to be weekly.
Well, someone told me, who's a very wise man in this department, that foreplay has a lot to do with intimacy.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Shout out to Mr. Jared Brady.
Yes, shout out to Jared.
I'm always learning, man. And I also think about that too. You know, so even on date nights, setting up the mood for later. Or maybe it's right then and there.
Yeah.
Meet me in the
spontaneous.
In the all gender bathroom now.
Yeah.
Right? But
or the closet of a model home.
Hey now. True story. Shout out to Austin, Texas. We left our mark there. Anyways.
We actually talked about we would name our kid Austin.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But anyways, I think for me, ways we can improve our physical intimacy, lingerie, for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
Maybe role play.
Yeah. Which I feel like I just feel like we need to do more of it.
Yeah.
More role play, more all of that.
I think more spontaneity.
Yeah, like Austin. I feel like we were completely... That's actually the perfect example of how...
Also, your birthday last year.
Wait a second.
On our way home.
Oh, yes. Yes, but that's what I'm saying is like when we are pulled away from our day-to-days...
Right.
...is when we are mostly physically connected. Like Austin was like the perfect example.
Yeah,
you know, multiple times. Like, and we were just completely disconnected.
Yeah.
And I feel like that really helps. So if we can find ways to... be disconnected more. Even in our everyday lives, that would really help us.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Next up.
Oh, my turn. Yeah. Okay. If for some reason I lost my memory, what's the first thing you would tell me about us?
Oh, yeah.
Is this going to make me cry?
There's a movie with Channing Tatum and Rachel McAdams. Rachel McAdams. The girl from The Notebook.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Did you ever see
Oh,
that?
yes. Like she loses her. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And he had to win her all over again. And it's filmed in Chicago. So for me, I would just make sure I got the question right. Oh, what's the first thing you tell me about us? Perfect.
Which is exactly what he had to do in the movie.
Yeah. I would tell you.
And he had to get her to fall in love with him all over again. Ugh.
Yeah. I would tell you, brace yourself. Strap in. It's going to be a long ride. It's going to be bumpy. It's going to have some drops.
Wait, that's the first memory you would...
Just let me finish.
I was like,
It's going to be bumpy. It's going to have some drops. It's going to have a lot of highs and some lows. But... I promise you, it will all be worth it. I guarantee you it will all be worth it. That's the first thing I'm telling you.
Okay. But what's the memory?
Oh, I lost. Well, no, what's the first thing I would tell you about us? That's what I would tell you.
Oh, but you have to tell me like something.
This is if you lost your memory.
Yeah.
What's the first thing I would tell you about us? And I would tell you.
You wouldn't tell me how madly in love we were, like how we had a beautiful wedding.
No, you lost your memory. I would tell you everything that I said. This is my answer.
Okay, sorry.
You can give your own answer if you want.
I would show you our wedding tape.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you tell me, though?
I would tell you all the things that led up to that day.
If you showed me playing the saxophone while you walked down the aisle, I would think you got a clone of me. Like, I'd be like, I got a twin out there somewhere.
You're like, this wasn't
that ain't
me.
happening. Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good, actually.
Yeah.
Because because you could see the love, you could feel the love.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I was just more thinking.
And they say through music kind of helps bring back memories.
Yeah,
so I would definitely show you that.
Well,
I would probably go and rehearse and learn how to play the sax to play it for you.
Yeah. I would play Sade by your side while I'm telling you. About to be a bumpy ride.
See, there's my husband. I'm like, you're just gonna
shoot you straight.
You're just gonna like.
I'm gonna shoot you
throw
straight.
it at me like that. Like I'm gonna be like, okay.
Manage expectations. All right, you can see who's the true romantic in this relationship. Although I'm pretty romantic though.
Yeah, you are. I mean, the sax definitely just like gave you that.
Sex
booster.
or sax?
Both.
All right. Now. Next question. What's the most unexpected thing about being with me?
The most unexpected thing about being with you, I think, what comes to my mind initially is the ability you have and the desire you have to really dig so deep, skin deep, into yourself and work on yourself to better yourself. I think, I mean, it's always easier said than done, and you're really doing it. And that I mean, it amazes me every time.
So. Thank you, honey.
Yeah. That's my answer.
Do you want me to answer?
I don't know. Yeah, you can answer if you have an answer.
The most unexpected thing about being with you?
I feel like you've answered this to me before, but.
So there's actually a French quote. If anyone speaks France, if anyone speaks
Bumper
French,
sticker.
yeah, or is from France, it's I know that the English definition is the joy of living. I just don't know what it is in French.
Mm-hmm.
I know someone's got me in the comments, but
yeah.
That came to my mind because the joy of living with you in the most simplified manner is unexpected. Because I was one I'm go big or go home. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, if I had to choose like an ideal date night, I would be very hard pressed to steer away from like being at home with you. Does that make sense?
It'd be
hard for me to choose something else besides that because I love that.
Okay.
So the joy of living, the joy of doing nothing. There was a quote in Eat, Pray, Love that Julia Roberts used, and it says the art of doing nothing, that they were in the barbershop talking about it. So my point is like, it's unexpected that I have the time of my life when I'm with you, and sometimes we're doing nothing. We're just together.
Got it.
And that was unexpected. Long-winded answer to say that.
Did you ever feel like, were you easily bored before, like with stuff like that?
Yeah. Okay. Like where I needed distractions because I was like, this is trash.
Oh.
We got to spice it up.
That makes more sense.
We got to, what did they say? Put makeup on a pig? Okay. Bumper sticker.
You and all your like.
I've been listening to too much Matthew McConaughey.
You're like, there's a quote, there's a lyric, there's a.
I have this like crazy
You've
Rolodex.
always been that way though.
Juice always tells me too. He's like, how do you know, how do you remember stuff like that?
Not only that, but this is another unexpected thing about you. Like, you can recognize somebody in a movie from like,
oh yeah,
a movie that they played when they were like 10 years old. Oh, you know who that is? And he pauses it and he's like, that's the guy that I'm like, how do you even know that?
Yeah. I wish there's gotta be a game show. I can get us some money for that.
Seriously.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. What do I do that makes you feel safe in our relationship?
Yeah. I have it. I'm just trying to articulate it.
I feel like I can answer that fairly quickly. If you want me to go first.
Allow me to feel safe, to open up, to be vulnerable, to be transparent. I don't feel like I'll be judged. I don't feel like I'll be looked down upon. It's very open and safe for sure. And also I'll give you a bonus to that because I see it when you're a bonus mom. You do the same for Adriana, and if it wasn't ever apparent before, it definitely wasn't last week's episode. So, yeah.
Wait, what do you mean? Oh, if it wasn't apparent. I thought you said a parent.
Oh, no.
I was like, wait, I don't get that sentence. I think what you do to make me feel safe in our relationship, and this just kind of goes back to the beginning, is you've always included me in everything. Like every conversation, every thought, every idea, every plan, like everything. And that's always like given me that safety net with you. It's your turn.
All right. Rolling right along here. Okay. What's an experience you want us to share together this year?
I would say I just want us to travel, to have more times of disconnect and where we could really just like decompress and get closer, and experience like more healing together. Which obviously we talk about going to Bali. That would be like an amazing experience with you. I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. And I'm glad I never did it before.
Same.
So stuff like that, I think, would be definitely something I would want to experience with you this year.
That's actually my answer. Bali. I know things are crazy right now with, traveling. If you're vaccinated, if you're not vaccinated, which country's letting you in, COVID tests, like there's a lot happening. But I was actually had a consultation this morning with a client, and I was thinking about it this morning, like I'm getting that itch now more than ever to travel, you know, but to travel for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we've only had one vacation, true vacation, in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
More or less, you know?
And I feel like a lot of our vacations, like leading up to the wedding, were just like, it was like an agenda, like plan.
That's not, I don't even count those.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like it went Spain, 2017.
That wasn't even because we.
Well, right.
Yeah.
But then the not honeymoon, sorry, but the year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's it. Yeah. Everything else felt like an obligation, or we had an agenda where it's out of our control for the wedding. So yes, travel, particularly to Bali, same sentiments. I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else. I think I've always felt a pull and a draw to Bali from what I know, from what I've seen, from what I've heard from people that we know, you know, like when Brandon was here, I was just like, oh, I'm trying to go tomorrow, you know, the way he was hyping it up. So
same.
Yeah.
All right. My turn.
Yep.
Okay. What have you healed in me? Or should I say, what have I healed in you?
We could both answer it, I guess.
Okay.
What have we healed in each other?
Mm-hmm.
I would think I have helped you heal with using your voice, not suppressing your feelings, not being too selfless, sticking up for yourself. Yeah, that's what came to mind. I guess I'll roll with that.
Yeah. What I feel like I've healed in you is relationships, like your close relationships. I feel like I've helped you get closer to your mom and Adriana. And I feel like I showed you how rewarding forgiving people are, or forgiveness.
Yeah.
And being able to kind of just have another perspective inside.
That's ding, ding, ding.
To all those relationships and situations of like that has built up into, you know, trauma for you. I feel like I've just healed that part of you.
Yeah.
Helped you, led you, guide you, whatever. But yeah.
Yep. All right. Next question. What's the unexpected gift we've received from a mistake we've made?
Unexpected gift we've received
from a mistake we've made.
Gosh.
I have an answer.
Would you think it's when we moved in together?
Yeah.
I'll let you elaborate.
And also just a short one is Chicago.
Yeah, I did think of that.
Because you were thinking that was a mistake.
Yeah.
Earmuffs, playa, wherever you are. Daddy wanted you. Mommy was on the fence, my boy. Anyways, yeah, moving in together, I would, if I'm being honest, I would consider, in hindsight, may have been a mistake. Only because it pushed us to the brink a couple of times. And I think it was more I believe I was ready to live with someone again. Maybe I wasn't ready to be like I had a lot of work to do in order to give you what you deserved. But I did feel like I was ready to live with you. If that's kind of strange, but it makes sense in my head.
I think in those moments, like you were very forward thinking, where you saw the long term, like the idea of what this could be, but you didn't take into consideration of how much work is involved to get to that final destination. It's almost like, I'm totally down to go on a road trip, and you're just thinking like, I'll go to, I could drive to Austin. Austin's amazing, and you're not thinking of how long it's going to take. How the weather condition is during the drive, or you know how many times you're going to have to stop at a hotel.
For sure. Which is kind of the story of my life.
so I think you were so fixated on what that fairy tale dream was that you didn't take into consideration all the obstacles we were going to hit along the way.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, growing pains are sometimes discouraging. They're very, you feel depleted, you know, you feel like you don't know if you can get through it.
Yeah.
So I would say that was it was a mistake, essentially, us moving in at the time we did. It was definitely too soon for me. And now you're recognizing it was too soon for you, but it, you know, brought us to this. And I feel like this is a very, like, to me, I feel like our life now is like such a gift, and I'm so happy and so blessed. And that's, our answer.
I think it's interesting. I'm going to like try to parallel two things, and then, cause the other two parallels are total opposite. When moving in, I was ready to move in with you. You were not ready to move in with me or live together. I, in hindsight, was not ready to be in a relationship. You were ready to be in a relationship.
Yeah. That is, yeah.
It's crazy when you think about it like that.
Yeah, that's true. I never like thought about it like that.
Yeah.
For sure. I also, side note, have never lived with somebody. So that like not only me not being ready for it.
Yeah. You didn't even know what it took.
I felt like that step was a huge one, and I saved it, you know, for a reason. I never jumped into that with anybody else for a reason. So, to kind of feel, to just like, I mean, for it to be happening as early as it did was just like hard. It was really, really, hard for me. Is it my turn? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. What's the pain in me you wish you could heal?
Ooh.
And there's like an eye with a tear, which is me just reading that.
Yeah, that's deep. Okay. There's a couple things. I know I have to keep some of them private. But the one I will say is, I wish I could take the pain away that you put onto yourself when trying to please everyone, and they don't see your effort, your heart, and your energy that you put forward in order to make someone's day, to alleviate someone's problem, to take someone's pain away. You go by far, almost bar none, to take someone's pain away almost. And when they don't receive it that way, pain then is kind of inflicted on you from you. You know, you start to say, you know, I need to do more. I need to show up more. I need to, you know, and I'm like, honey, there's only so much you can do, you know, but I get it. You think you're Superwoman at times. You are in a lot of ways. So I get the internal struggle that you have, especially with the ones you love the most. You know, it's like, I know how much you love them, how much you care for them, how much you want the best for them. And I know in a heartbeat, you would do anything in your power to give them that. But when it doesn't happen that way for whatever reason, that's when the pain is beginning and not really ending.
Yeah. Thank you. I know that there was a lot more that you could have
for sure.
said and wanted to say. And I know that there's a couple other things that probably come above that. And just knowing that alone, like, makes me feel good.
Yeah.
But one of so for me, the pain, hold on. What's the pain in you I wish I could heal would probably be your childhood trauma. Like, I can get so emotional. I'm trying to like talk slow so I can like grab control over my feelings as I talk, and it's not really working.
Yeah.
But I think, your childhood, like the experience you had growing up and not feeling like you had the the love and affection that you needed and deserved. And nothing against your mom, because I think she really truly did the best she could. And she was a single mom at that, you know, raising a biracial son. So that alone is also hard. I wish I could take a lot of like stuff from her in her childhood as well. But I just think that I wish I could heal that in you. I wish I could like.
I think when I hear you say that, a couple of things come to mind. The first thing is I'm already healing with that, you know, tremendously.
Yeah.
Like in a way I've never thought I could heal from, and to this level. And I think what will ultimately bring me the most fulfillment is continuing to work through these things for Adriana, and then working through these things for our kids. That will bring me peace for sure with what I lacked in childhood. I will be able to get that back through giving it to our kids and Adriana.
Yeah. Even like you know, when I hear the stories of you know, being so excited for your dad to pick you up or take you to a game, and how your mom would say that she'd feel so bad. And Lisa would say that, you know, they'd feel so bad because you would like literally wait by the window, like stuff like that, like breaks my heart so much.
Yeah.
And sorry. I'm gonna stop.
Yeah. Appreciate you, honey. We'll get it right. Okay. Next question. What about me makes you feel like home?
This is like the worst question to bring after this.
Bam, bam, bam.
It's so funny because
Skin deep.
I used to always say, you know, you're in love with someone when that person is your home. Like they become your home, like where it's like home is no longer a place and it's a person, you know. And I've always felt like that my entire life. Like that's how I'm gonna know I'm with the right person, is like home will no longer be a place for me, and it's gonna be that person. And I feel like there's a lot of times even recently where I just am so reassured in knowing that, in feeling rather, that you are home to me. Like I think like when you have your person, your whole life could be falling apart, you know, and no matter what, like everything's like not working out or going as planned. And the thought of just knowing at least you have that person is so like comforting, you know, and a home is very comforting. So I feel like feeling that and knowing that is just like everything. I think to really like just directly answer that question as far as like what about you makes me feel like home. It's not a specific characteristic or attribute. It's overall like you. It's what we have together, what it's a feeling. It's not even like, I don't even think words can describe it. It's just like a feeling I have when I'm with you, and knowing that I have you. Like whether, you know, even like in moments recently where you and I have had like a disagreement and we spend a day apart, and it's like I genuinely like know you're my safe place, you're my home, because I like miss you even in those moments, you know. And just like at the end of the day, just like the thought of feeling like I have you, you know, to come home to and be my home.
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered that properly.
Beautiful, love. And that's the thing is, you know, this answer is definitely more of a feeling than words.
Yeah.
You said something and I completely agree with it, because it's how I feel. Everything could be falling apart, and in my head I'm like, it's all good, I got Shay. Like that's like a mantra I have in my head.
Yeah, same.
I'm just like, doesn't matter, I'm good. Regardless, I'm good. I feel that way about people that have coming out of my life. I feel that way about opportunities that have coming out of my life. And I remember, even if it's just like a hard day, you know, I'm just like, no one's got it better than me driving home right now. I can guarantee you that. We may not have our dream home. We may not have our quote unquote dream life. But if this is like as worse as it gets, I'm happy as hell. Yeah. So
that question is really big for me because it's always been at the forefront of like finding my partner, my life partner, and who I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, because the only other person that I've ever felt that way with is my mom.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry, Susan. No one's replacing you.
You're still my mom and you're still my home. Just have another home.
Next question.
What is it that keeps us going strong?
Well, I think to piggyback off of what we just said, I mean, knowing that, again, it's only going to get better for us is like, in a way, a safety net. But in another way, it just is this drive and fire in me that I've never had before. Here's a better way to put it. I know that with you, there's nothing we cannot accomplish. There's nothing we can't obtain. There's nothing we can't do as an experience. I really, like, the sky's the limit. There is nothing holding us back. I really, truly feel that way. And so that's what really keeps, you know, in my mind, us strong, because we have each other to lean on. We have a support system with one another. And I think, you know, unfortunately, and I've been in this situation, that's a lot of people may not be able to say that, you know, which I empathize with, because I was there. Yeah. And it was like a crippling feeling, like a holding me back feeling. Yeah.
I would say, definitely our drive to work through every single issue, whether small or big, and not just work through the surface part of it, but like really dig into the root of it. And even if it's uncomfortable, you know, and it takes a long time, like, I think that we have that constant drive to just like fight.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really what is keeping us strong, is the foundation that we're building, and we're constantly building, and we're adding new, like, you know, things that are like just making it stronger and stronger, like tools to like add to it. So
for sure. Alrighty, I'm up. I'm up, right?
I always think, because it's facing you, that you said that question, but I think you flipped it around.
Yeah. Okay, if you had to write a rule book for our relationship, what would be the number one rule?
I would say listen to each other. Yeah.
My number one rule would be it's team us.
That's always been like yours, I feel.
Team us. Don't worry about it.
That is a good number one. I feel like mine would be communicate and listen. Like, there's a lot. Like, I think so many things, but team us is a good number one. I would have to like definitely say.
I mean, and I say that because that helps me. You know, I could be very selfish. I could think sometimes in the short term. You know, I remember early on in our relationship, my threats of, I didn't sign up for this, or I don't know if this is going to work, right? Yeah. It was like very selfishly thinking. And now it's like, it's team us, you know. Yeah. The ring on my finger helps, you know. You having, well, you don't have it yet, but when you get the paperwork, right, you having my last name helps, you know. And when we have kids, of course, you know. So, but it's definitely team us. I always say, don't worry about them. It's team us.
Speaking of, I forgot to tell you this. I met someone yesterday that handles name changes.
Serendipity.
Yeah. So,
All right.
all right. So next question. What do you think our current challenge is trying to teach us?
Which one? Which one?
It never stops, honestly, for anyone who thinks that like we have it perfect just because I don't think anybody ever, as you evolve as a person, like your relationship is evolving, and that is all a good thing. And I think with every chapter, you know, with every new circumstance, whether you're getting a dog, having a kid, moving into a new house, like furnishing a new space, I think it all comes with growing pains. So I think it's constant like work that you have to do to make sure you're sticking together in it and team us.
I mean, I don't think I can add to that.
Yeah.
You know, the challenges are going to be piled up for sure. Some moments, some quarters of the year may feel like less, some may feel like more, but I think for me, it's a reminder that they're just never going to go away though. You're never going to have an empty plate of challenges. And it may not even be us as a challenge. It may just be me individually as a challenge. I'm working through some stuff work-wise, internally-wise, vice versa. Or it may be our child or whatever. I mean, we've had challenges with our dog. You know what I mean? It had nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
So they're never going to go away. And I think Mark actually taught me that. You know, he said, it's not if you're going to disagree. It's not if you're going to have a challenge. It's when. So if you can manage expectations and knowing that, then it'll be easier to handle that. Because I used to always be like, it shouldn't be like this. Yeah. And you're like what?
And I was like, this is all necessary.
Yeah.
We had a very different outlook on challenges, and I feel like they're very necessary. And in fact, it's what brings you to another level with someone.
For sure.
Is that it's just how you go through that challenge. And I think like, you know, grabbing each other's hand and walking through it together is very important. It's not like, I'll see you on the other side, meet me there, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But I think what our current challenges is trying to teach us, I think, is just be patient sometimes. Listen to understand. And and also understand that, you know, I don't have the expectation that, you know, now that you've have the answers to some of the stuff that you've been, you know, battling within yourself, that it's going to still be changed overnight. I have to be patient knowing that these are still challenges for you, that even in moments that you know what you're supposed to do, you're trying to rewire your brain as to actually doing them in the moments. Yeah. And you're, you know, the last 4 years, you're 4 years against 30 years, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like 30 years is a lot of years up against like a 4-year, you know, person that's just, you know, you're the new you in the last 4 years. So it's like the new you versus the old you. And I know that in itself is a challenge. So I have to be understanding and patient and hold that space for you, because you are working through it, and I do see progress, but it's not just going to be overnight magical. Like,
and it's a lifelong thing, you know, as well. I remember that the time we had the conversation of, I'd said it's like a war in my head, and in my heart, like literally a war, like the old versus the new. And it's like they each got their soldiers,
and it's like a 30-year-old versus a 4-year-old. Like, how do you even?
You can't compete. Yeah, I mean, you can, but it's like David and Goliath sometimes, and I, you know, struggle with that. But it's again, back to one of the questions. You know, you provide enough of a safety net, like it's okay though. Yeah, you know, well, I know, but it's okay though. So we can go on and on about that, but hopefully we answered that question. All right, you're up, love.
Oh. All right, next question. What do you think our relationship teaches others? That's actually really like to have as like the next card is good.
Huh. Teaches others.
What do you think our relationship teaches others?
I have an answer. You know, we did an episode on Enjoy about can people change or do people change? And my, you know, hard stance on that was yes. Is it likely? Hell no. But is it possible? Of course, anything's possible. And I think our relationship teaches people that it is possible to change. It is possible to be one way with one person and be a completely different way with a completely different person. You know, I always say, like, certain people bring out certain sides of you. And I hope at least that that's what it's teaching people. Like, you can change. He can change. She can change. Is it likely? Again, probably not. And the only reason why I say it is 100% possible is because they have to want it. And like a broken record with this, they have to want to change. They have to see it. They got to believe it and accept it and roll up your sleeves and get to work. What you got, Liv?
What do I think our relationship is teaching others? I think kind of like what I said earlier is it's not as good as we have it. It like the behind the scenes has been work. And I mean, like you used to watch movies and TV shows and you would just see like the cookie cutter perfection side of like a family or a relationship. And you created that
false narrative
in your head.
False expectation.
And I think what our relationship is teaching us by, you know, how much we're opening up to your platform about it is that it's work and you have to be willing to put it in and you have to be willing to hold the space for your partner.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I mean, there's a lot now that I think about it. There's a lot that I think it's teaching people. Communication's everything. You know, it's not about what's right or wrong or who's right or wrong. It's about what is right for your relationship. But, well, let's let the people decide too, honey. So for everyone listening or watching, let us know, what do you think our relationship is teaching you?
That's great.
It's me?
Yeah.
I think I'm up. Okay, moving on. When did you feel most alone in our relationship and what did you learn from it?
The answer is probably going to be very surprising to a lot of people, but, or not, because we've kind of hit it here and there. But when did I feel most alone in our relationship and what did I learn from it? First part of the question, I would say when you first moved in, it was very challenging for me to have my voice. And I think, the first part of having my voice would have been voicing the fact that I wasn't ready about moving in together. And I think that I actually didn't know that that's what it was. I think I was just letting things happen so organically. And when you moved in, just going through all the growing pains of like what I thought, you know, was bothering me, but the surface of what I thought was actually had nothing to do with like the root of what it was. Yeah. And, so you moving in together was obviously too soon. I felt the most alone, but I learned so much about myself in those moments of, you know, just recognizing my inner voice and listening to it a little bit more on a deeper level. Yeah.
I'm telling everyone, like, growing pains, A, it's inevitable. There's no escaping it. Yeah. And B, if you haven't had them yet, I promise you will. Like, I think about, I won't say their names in case they don't want that out there, but there's a younger couple that we know that's like beautiful couple, beautiful marriage. It's great. And I don't think they've really had any growing pains yet. And I'm just like, don't worry, it'll come. Just manage your expectations. Not trying to scare you, just trying to prepare you, but bumper sticker. But yeah, I just think it's so important to recognize. I've actually never felt alone in our relationship. I have felt not prioritized. And I think what I learned from that was, and I think you learned what you had to learn, which was like, we talked about this in marital therapy, when our therapist said, because I was saying, I think you prioritize work too much, and he was like, okay, well, Shay, why do you prioritize work so much? And you're like, well, it pays the bills and I fear losing my job. And he's like, okay, well, if you didn't prioritize Justin, do you think you would potentially lose him?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, never thought of it like that. You know, it's a realization that you had. And but my learning from feeling not prioritized was my, at times, childhood being, you know, raised by a single mother. She wasn't around a lot. Like, I'm alone, you know, so that was like, I had talked about this in another episode. It was like a whole thing for me. So, yeah. All right, love, you're up.
I feel like I have so much more to say for that question, but I'm going to keep it moving.
All right.
When was last time you considered ending our relationship, and why didn't you?
The last time, ironically, was a month after I proposed. We were going through it. In hindsight now, I realized that, you know how they talk about like cold feet for a wedding? I got cold feet like right after I asked you to marry me. It wasn't anywhere near the wedding. I think it was, okay, I'm speaking out loud, so like bear with me. It's my disclaimer. Asking you to marry me in the proposal is your choice, right? It was, I made up my choice in my mind to ask you. So I'm already there. I'm never going to be more vulnerable than, will you marry me?
Yeah.
Right? At the altar, it was like, well, we've already paid all this money. We're in it. We've had a year and a half to think about it. You know what I mean? So I wasn't fearful of that. I think I subconsciously had a lot of fear of rejection in that moment. Also because we weren't that good during that time.
Yeah.
You know, so this was me thinking long term. Like you said earlier, when moving in, I'm like, no, I know. But trust me, where we're going, you're going to be happy.
Yeah.
So
do you think it was part of it was self-sabotaging? Like, let me end it before.
That's where I was going for sure.
Got it.
So, you know, so it was like, oh shit, like we're engaged. One thing to live together, because I had done that before.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be in a long relationship, done that before.
Yeah.
Long distance, done that before, but I've never been engaged. And I was like, like really letting this person in here.
Yeah.
We good? And I was like, nope, not good. I'm still 1 foot out the door. 1 foot in. Where's the exit door?
And I'm sure you didn't feel my, like my 100%.
Right.
And that probably scared you as well.
Yeah. So, I definitely thought about ending the relationship then. You know, here's the truth. I'm sorry. I don't mean to say end the relationship, because I actually, I thought about taking a break. It wasn't an end, technically.
Yeah.
I guess. So just preface that. But I didn't, because I knew that I was self-sabotaging. I didn't know I was self-sabotaging, but I knew like this was me. This was my thoughts in my head. Like, and at that point, even though I moved here, I lived with you at this point, I really felt like I'm about to go both feet in. Really.
Yeah.
For the first time ever.
Yeah.
And it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And so I thought about ending it, but didn't, because I'm like, but if I'm going to go both feet in with anybody, it would be the Portuguese lover.
It's interesting to me because I think back on those times and not knowing what was going on in your head. And then I'm over here like, we should postpone the date. So I could see why it was creating more of like,
doubt.
Oh shit, she's not like all in. And
Doubt.
here I am all in. Like, how do I take control of this? Let me be the one to just end it before I get hurt.
Right.
I think like for me, my answer would be the last time I considered ending our relationship was probably around the same time. Like, it was definitely during us being engaged. And there was that day, it's so clear in my mind, where we were in our bedroom and you like got objects out and you were like, you're doing this and you're not doing this and you're not doing that. And I just remember seeing how many things you were pointing out about me that I wasn't doing, that I remember feeling I will never be able to make this person happy.
Well, yeah, that person, that version of me, you would never be able to make happy, for sure.
Because, and I have so much self-worth and value. And I know, like, even before meeting you, I was like, I knew how much work I did on myself and how I saw myself, that I was like, whoever, and that's why I was so particular of who I gave myself to, because I'm like, whoever, you know, I give myself to is going to be very lucky. So in that moment of seeing the person that I was giving myself to not receiving it in that light, it was like almost like an eye opener where I was like, this is not my person. Because my person, like, if you can't see me, that can't be on me. I think it was like a block that you had going on internally that I had nothing to do with, and I couldn't help you.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought that my hands were tied and there was nothing I was going to be able to do to fix that. And why I didn't end up ending the relationship is because you started to fix that in yourself.
Yeah. Which allowed me to see you
Yeah.
and all that you had to bring to the table and your value. That's very insightful, very impactful. I know for a lot of people listening and watching what you just said, because I'm sure they can relate to you. And I'm just thinking that they're still with that version of me, you know, unfortunately. So.
And the only reason for all those people because I don't want people just constantly holding on to the hope of like, oh, but he'll change. The only reason I stayed was because you did put in the work that I needed to see. Like you put in so much work.
Yeah.
And I saw the drive, I saw the desire, I saw the want, and the want was beyond me, which was amazing. You know, it was for you. And, because I didn't want it to be for me, you know, I didn't want it to be, because I feel like that's like surface, because then once you got comfortable with me again, then you're going to go revert back to your old ways. Like I truly wholeheartedly wanted it to be only for you. Where if I was removed from the equation, you were still going to be that person.
Did you ever consider then taking a break as well for me to get it together, and then maybe down the road we'll see where we're at?
I never really thought of break. I just thought of like,
it's not gonna
work.
work.
And if we find our way back to each other, great. But I didn't think of like, oh, we'll take a break, and because then I'm holding on to the hope, like, you know. And if I end it, I want to move on.
But you're also a person who doesn't believe in breaks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I just feel like if there's too much gray in a break.
Yeah.
I just feel like take your time, whatever that means. If I'm still here when you have it together, amazing. If not, then it wasn't meant for us.
Okay. Yeah.
And we were, you know, the stepping stone to where we needed to be.
Well said, honey.
Yeah.
Now everyone knows why I asked you to marry me. Okay, next up. We have 3 left, including this one.
Okay.
Describe how you feel when you're with me.
Home. I feel at home. It kind of goes back to that other question. Yeah. How do you feel when you're with me? I feel like anything I would say would be a repeat of what I've already said. So.
In the words of Snow Allegra, I feel all the feels, but I also feel things that I never thought I could feel. I feel whole, which is not to say complete. I just feel whole. I feel home as well, like you said. I feel challenged. I feel very uncomfortable in the best way possible, because I know it leads to growth. And that ties into the challenge, because you, ironically enough, I said this last week to Adriana, you two have this way of keeping me on my toes and never letting me settle or get to a place where I'm like, okay, I can put the Tesla automated drive on, just chill out and let it do it. Like, I know I can't do that with you. And that's where the challenge comes from. That's where the feeling uncomfortable comes from, which is I need that. I've always been a person that needs to be kept on my toes. I can't be bored or complacent because it's a wrap. When I'm with you, I feel, when I said I've never felt this before, I feel loved. Like I haven't felt loved in its entirety since I was a child. And I didn't think for a long time there that was ever possible. Because I didn't think anyone else could give that to me outside of my mother who gave it to me.
Yeah.
Nor did I trust them. And so, and that's why I told you, like, when I knew I loved you was because I knew I could, the first thought of it is because I knew I could trust you. So I feel trust when I'm with you. I feel loved when I'm with you. I feel accepted when I'm with you. And I literally, again, back to what I said earlier, I already had a very high level of confidence. But I feel unstoppable when I'm with you. Like, I'm going to take over the world. I feel that way. I really do. And you have a large part to do with that.
I was just going to say, too, to add to it, I feel better when I'm with you.
Yeah.
I feel more empowered.
Yeah.
Just even being your wife, like after getting married and stuff, like I feel like just whole, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why do you think I'm in your life?
In a very non-bumper sticker way. I'm gonna really try here.
Another lyric from a song.
I'm gonna really try here. I think you're in my life to show me what I would dream about could come true.
I was just going to say, I think you're in my life to give me that family dynamic I wish I had growing up, and to just be able to write our own story with like all the fantasies we had and the ideas of we had as like kids, you know, and wishing what we had that we didn't have. So
I also want to add, for me, why I think you're in my life is to be the guide, the constant guide I've never had. Like, I've never told you this before, but in so many ways, you are like my role model, the mother figure I wish I had, the father figure I wish I had in ways, the ultimate person to model after. And I know, full transparency, that I don't do well without some type of guidance. I never had guidance, and I've messed up a lot along the way here. And I feel like you're in my life to be the guide that I've always needed but never had.
Yeah.
Consistently.
All right.
If you're not watching and everyone's listening, I mean, Shay didn't brush that off. She just doesn't want to cry anymore. And everyone's like, "That's your response, all right."
I just felt all the, you know, when you get like that tight knot in your throat.
Yeah.
I just felt that, and
well, again, I've never said that to you.
Yeah.
And
I'm not trying to ugly cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, trying to pull myself together.
Pull it together, honey.
Thank you, babe.
You're welcome. I'm up.
Yeah, I think so.
Last and final question. Thank you to each and every one who's been rocking with us this whole time. I hope this has been helpful. Where are we going? Reminds me of Marvin Gaye. Where are we going? Where are we going? I'll add to it. Where are we headed? And maybe, where do we see ourselves?
I mean, I really feel like this part of where we are today is truly the beginning. And we have so much more to build together, to experience together. And obviously we're already married, so that's like something that's already like a big step. And I think the next one after that, the reason why I say that is because I think the next step is building our family. I can see us probably having a kid within the next 3 years, if not sooner.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we're going, y'all.
For me, very similar to all that, I think, but I'll sum it up to say we're going somewhere that neither of us have ever been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In reality. I know how bad we want a family dynamic that we've never had.
Mm-hmm.
We want a marriage that we've never seen.
Mm-hmm.
We want a sense of security that we've never had.
Mm-hmm.
And we want a life of the type of happiness that I don't really think I've seen yet, I want to say. But that I know we could get to.
Mm-hmm.
So, bumper sticker. We're going somewhere we've never been.
Yeah, I love that.
So
I feel like too, like kind of adding to a little bit of what we said earlier is like how, you truly are built through these indifferences and challenging moments, because when I think of that place, of us getting to that place that we've never been, I feel like in those moments, even in the moment today, like I feel so grateful for everything we've been through. And especially those challenging moments.
Yeah.
Because I think that is what truly has built us to be where we are today, and where we are planning to go, and where we will be in the future.
And it makes those indifferences and those times of conflict worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know
important,
what the other side looks like, feels like, because we've been there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's something I used to always lack.
And I honestly don't know how deep and connected we would be without those moments.
Right.
I feel like it is a very imperative piece in our relationship. And I think in a lot of relationships, I think that it's what connects you.
For sure.
Is walking through fire together, you know?
And I think that to add to that, the connect is the trust. Mm-hmm. We can trust and count on one another to know, like, not only am I willing to go through this, but I know you are too. And I know with us combined together, we'll be able to get through anything.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, honey, this was fun. Also, special shout out to one of my clients. Her birthday is today, August 3rd. Oh. I'll keep her. I mean, obviously she knows who I'm talking about, but I'll keep you anonymous. But I just want to say happy birthday. For sure. Hope you're enjoying your special day. And again, just appreciate everyone for tuning in with us. One thing I've been contemplating and going a little bit back and forth, actually wrote it on my board this morning with a couple question marks so I can sit with it and look at it. Contemplating taking a little bit of a break after the 50th episode. This is 46. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to do, but I'll continue to do weekly check-ins, even though they do nothing for numbers. I don't get it. I don't understand YouTube and the audio algorithm is like, nope, that ain't it. But I'm not gonna leave everyone completely. But if we're gonna go to Bali, I'm trying to chill out. 100%. Well, thank you to the Skin Deep for allowing me to purchase your game. Pretty sure I could have reached out, but that's all good. I encourage everyone to try this. Again, this was the couples edition, long term. Chicago's like, wrap it up, man.
I know. He's like, he
knows.
It's like after an hour, he's like, all right, like,
yeah, he knows.
Let's get it together. Time's up. Yeah. Now you guys have to play with me.
Yeah. Okay. All right, everyone. Until next week, have a great rest of your week. Thank you again for tuning in. And honey, thanks for redoing this episode. Thanks for your honest answers, your beautiful answers.
Thank you.
And this was fun.
Thanks for having me.
Love you, love.
Love you, love.